Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're tackling something that literally impacts almost every single organization out there, the project management lifecycle. Consider this absolutely staggering fact from the Standish Group. Over 70% of projects fail. They don't deliver on time, they blow past their budget, or they just completely miss the mark on quality. And why? Simply because they lack a formal methodology. That is a massive amount of wasted energy and money, right? So let's look at how the source material actually breaks down a real, workable solution.
Okay, let's dive into this. Think about it for a second. How do you run a marathon? You certainly can't just wake up one morning, throw on some running shoes, and expect to crush 26 miles without passing out. There's no way. You need a highly structured plan, you need months of preparation, a strict training schedule, proper nutrition, distinct milestones, the whole shebang. Well, managing a project is exactly the same thing. You need a structured, step-by-step approach to get to that finish line successfully.
So here's our agenda, our roadmap for taming the chaos today. We'll start by demystifying project management and then walk straight through the 4 core phases: project initiation, project planning, project execution, and project closure.
Part 1. Demystifying project management.
Now, what's really interesting here is the cyclical foundation. Project management isn't just some random checklist you cross off. It's a defined sequence of phases that a project moves through from start to finish. And the beauty of this is that it applies perfectly whether your project uses a predictive, plan-driven approach where you map out all the specifics right at the starting line, or an adaptive, change-driven approach where you develop the product iteratively. The core cycle remains your anchor. And that cycle builds into a super clear timeline. Step 1 is initiation. Step 2 is planning. Step 3 is execution. And Step 4 is closure. These are the 4 high-level chronological phases we're going to conquer on our marathon journey today.
Moving right along to Phase 1, Project Initiation.
Look, before a single dime of real money is spent, or any teams are hired, we have to stop and answer one fundamental question: is this actually possible? To answer that, we rely heavily on the business case. Just as a quick refresher, this is a structured document that evaluates the raw costs, the potential risks, and the expected business benefits. Basically, it's the essential first step to justify the whole endeavor to your stakeholders.
And this brilliantly illustrates how a feasibility study breaks it all down. By comparing the assessment criteria, like weighing the business benefits, estimated costs, and a feasibility rating, we can plainly see that solution 1 is the logical choice here. With high benefits and a 9 out of 10 feasibility rating, an organization can clearly and objectively decide if a project is actually worth the effort. Which brings us to the phase review. Are we ready to move forward? At the end of initiation, we hit this first major checkpoint. Think of it as a giant formal stop sign, where a project board decides if the initial objectives have actually been met. If the answer is yes, then boom, we are officially ready to start our marathon training.
Phase 2, Project Planning.
Okay, we've got the green light. Now we have to create a massive blueprint. We need a resource plan to figure out exactly what people and equipment we'll need, a financial plan to lock in our budget constraints so we don't go broke, a quality plan to set our standards, a risk plan because, things might go sideways, to identify what could go horribly wrong and how to mitigate it, a procurement plan for anything we need to buy from outside suppliers, and finally, an acceptance plan so we know the exact criteria the customer will use to approve the final product.
Now, with all those complex plans flying around, here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. 80% of the project manager's job is to do with communication. 80%, that is wild, but it makes sense. It is constant, crystal clear communication that keeps all your team members, suppliers, and stakeholders on the exact same page. Because a gap in communication, that usually means a fatal gap in the final product.
Eliminate what Brooks calls reality therapy or tales of woe sessions. Those are just massive time sinks. And finally, just offer the meeting minutes to interested parties who don't actually need to be in the room.
To further clean up that communication, techniques 41 and 42 recommend formal matrices. A task's responsibility matrix clearly defines roles, which honestly drastically reduces the number of irrelevant, time-consuming emails. People just know exactly who is doing what. Similarly, a communications responsibility matrix manages the flow of information to keep team communications timely. It completely cuts out the confusion of multipath communications.
Time for our next checkpoint, phase review. Is the blueprint complete? We literally pause here and rigorously verify that all of those plans we just talked about are completely documented, reviewed, and approved before a single piece of actual physical work begins.
Phase 3,
Project execution.
To shift gears from running to driving for a quick second, imagine you've been painstakingly planning a 500-kilometer road trip across Europe. You map the route, budgeted for gas, check the tires, right? Well, the execution phase is the moment you finally put the key in the ignition and the actual driving begins. You are executing the tasks until you hit that 500-kilometer mark and arrive at your destination.
During execution, you're constantly doing a balancing act. On one side, you have building deliverables. This is your team physically constructing the required project outputs, writing the code, pouring the concrete, whatever it is. But concurrently, on the other side, you have monitoring and controlling. This is the management process of actively tracking time, cost, and quality. It's how you ensure that while you are building this product, you aren't veering completely off the road.
Because if you aren't monitoring carefully, well, as this points out, a project can go way over the allocated budget due to numerous factors, including time delays and iterations. And that is exactly why rigorous tracking techniques are absolutely mandatory. Things like daily stand-up meetings, detailed timesheets, or Kanban boards, they give you the visibility you need to adjust your course instantly and prevent those disastrous budget blowouts.
Checkpoint number 3, phase review. Have we reached our destination? Here, we evaluate the project's performance to ensure all the physical deliverables actually match the strict quality standards and requirements that the stakeholders set way back in the planning phase. If they do, awesome, we've successfully built what we promised.
And finally, phase 4, project closure.
You know, you can't just drop the mic and walk away once the product is built. You've got to formally wind things down. This involves some really specific administrative steps. You submit the final deliverables to the clients, you release your project resources and staff back to their normal day-to-day roles, you formally terminate any supplier contracts, and crucially, you document a retrospective analysis.
And let me tell you, that retrospective analysis, it's everything. It allows you to deeply understand the learnings from the entire journey. What were our major achievements? Where did we totally fail? Documenting all of this helps you maximize the positives and drastically reduce the negatives for the next time around. It really is the ultimate secret to ongoing future success. So, I'll leave you with this. What will your next project be, and are you ready to plan it? Whether you're rolling out a massive new software system, building a high-rise office block, or literally training for a marathon, applying the structured life cycle is going to vastly improve your chances of crossing that finish line on time and on budget. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot